Okay, let's pray. Loving God, we thank you again tonight. We can study your words. We pray for your help that we can learn with understanding from you so we can serve you better. We pray for friends who cannot come today. Wherever they are, be with them and bless them, and pray for all the men who come to retreat with grateful, with all the cat and all his friends. Be with them, bless them for that time that they come for retreat to get closer to you. We thank you for everything we learn and for your grace. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay. Tonight we're going to discuss about preaching for special occasion. In fact, most of the time when you preach for special occasion, most of them is about wedding, funeral, house dedication, or some special occasion that normally happen in your church. So the style almost the same thing, but the topic just changed. But it's not a normal sermon in the sense because it's special occasion. For example, when you preach for funeral, it's not just concentrate on the topic of death or resurrection. They also have to add on a lot of things about the family and about the dead person in the same time. But when you preach in the wedding, it's not really trying to teach them a lot, but the wedding sermon is more about how to support them and give them hope and help them to make their commitment to one another. So it's a kind of not just teaching the congregation, but you try to teach the couple. That's more of the wedding sermon. Now, on many other special occasions when you preach, you need to think about why you preach that sermon on that day. And your target most of the time is the people who affect the most. For example, the couple who get married, the family of the dead person, or the owner of the house that dedicate the house, or the parent that dedicate their baby to God, or some other special thing that happened. So now your target group might be different when your sermon is on a special occasion. Now let's concentrate on funeral first. I don't know how often you preach in the funeral service. If you go to other funeral of non-believer, you will see that their ceremony not really much about sermon. It's about ceremony, mean that they might have monks or someone come to perform a certain ritual, and the family join in the certain ceremony. And they don't really care much about what to learn, what to teach. They just care about ceremony. And in many other religions, they do the same thing. But for Christians, especially for the Protestant, it's the occasion that we think about life and death, why we live in this world, and after this world, what will happen to us. It's a reminder. And it helps not, it's not much about the dead person because they already done their job. And Christian funeral service is more about the living, their family, their friends, and the church. So why we have funeral? Yes, we're going to say goodbye to the dead person, but mainly the service and the sermon is about the living, to help them get ready and prepare for the future, because everyone will die one day. So the sermon concentrates on the living, not on the dead. So when they say that your sermon need to concentrate on the living, mean that their family, their children, their friend, and anyone who come to join the funeral service. Your sermon is about them. Your sermon will ask them that are they ready for this trip that will happen to everyone. And they might say ready, not ready, but everyone will come to this point one day. And then what will happen to them after that? That the good thing that you could remind them in your sermon. So it's a good time that you can preach the good news about salvation and the readiness to face God and the readiness to check about their future. So this is mainly about the funeral sermon that you're going to preach. It concentrates on the family. You try to give them hope, to let them know that this is not the end. For Christians, this is the beginning of another journey. Death in this world is not the end. But in the same time, as I say that we are sad and happy in the same time. That two things that you need to tell them. Why we sad? Because we're going to miss the dead person. But we're happy because the dead person will go to be with God and better than this world. So you always mention that two things. When you mention just one side, people will feel that, oh, you ignore the loss. Because sometimes you just talk about happiness without mention about sadness, because there are two feelings in the funeral. Yes, it's okay to cry, but it's also okay to laugh. So that two things can go in hand in Christian funeral. You cry because you're going to miss the dead person. You're not going to see each other again for a while. It's like time to say goodbye, at least for a short time. But at the same time, you're happy with them because they already done their job. So that's one thing that you need to emphasize in Christian funeral all the time. And the family need time to grieve, mean that time to feel sorry for the loss. So don't ignore that. Don't let them skip that because they need to go through that too for the loss. Don't tell them, don't cry, don't sad, don't anything. Everyone have to go through that. We all have to go through one day or another. If you skip it now, one day they still have to go back and work on it. It will come back. So this is what we call closure. Everyone need to come to that point sometime. So grief, sadness is part of it. And then you need to present them with the gospel of salvation in Jesus Christ, because this is a good time for them to review and to think about their lives again. They're ready. They accept Jesus, or they're sure that they're saved or not. It's like they review their life insurance. This is the insurance for the future. They have it or not. You remind them that they buy insurance for everything: car insurance, house insurance, unemployment insurance, debt insurance, everything. But about future life, do they have future life insurance or not? If not, they need to have one. And Jesus offered them. So this is something that you need to mention in the funeral sermon too. And don't forget, ask them to respond, not just here. This is time for them to make decision. Before they leave the service, they need to be sure that they have that insurance of salvation in Jesus Christ. So don't let them go without. Ask them to make decision that day, that night. And there is some advice for you how to write a good funeral sermon. What is a good step? They advise you need to start with preparation, how you prepare it. First, you need to know about the dead person and his family, because you need to mention something about that person in your sermon, because this is about him too. He passed away. He ready or not, and he done his job. And most of the time, we talking some good thing about the person who died. This is not the time to talk bad thing about the dead person. Whatever, even someone that nobody knows, you have some good thing to talk about. So this is the time to mention the good part of him. And a lot of people will come to say the same thing. So this is part of your sermon, mention about the dead person. And before anything, don't forget to visit the family too. When I say visit, it doesn't mean all the time you need to go a few days unless you know them well. But if you don't know them well, spend some time before you preach. Talk with some of the family, especially his wife, her husband, children. Let to know them a little bit before you start the service or before you start the sermon. Pay some attention, talk to the family, check in. And this is when you have a lot of time, you plan ahead of time, and you know them well. So this is some time that you spend with the family a few days before the funeral to help them get ready and to offer your help whatever they need. And this is a good time that you can spend to know the family, and your sermon will include them, the story about them in there. And a lot of time, the family need your help to plan for the funeral, because sometimes they're out of town or they don't know what step they need to do. And this is a good time to help them plan for the funeral. And then now when you write your sermon, they say that there are 5 R's to remember in your sermon. What are they? First, reality. Remind them about that. And in America, just in America, in general, they say that 50 million deaths per year in this world. That's a lot of death. 50 million deaths a year. That's a lot. We talk about 50 million persons who die every year in this world. That's a lot of number, but it's reality. In America alone, when we have COVID, more than 1 million persons die because of COVID in America in a year. 1 million. That's a lot of number, big number. And ready or not, everyone will face that. The reason we are dead, and why we dead, the Bible says because of sin. Without sin, we're not going to die. But God can help us, offer us. You see, this is reality, but there's a reason why we die. But there's a good way to get out of this. And we remind them about physical death and spiritual death. Now, the person can die both or one. Everyone who born will die physically one day, but spiritual death is not for everyone. If you're born again, you believe in Jesus, you will never face spiritual death. Mean that you're going to be with God forever. And that is a choice. They can make decision. And then in your sermon, you can talk about the result. If you believe in Jesus, you will come back, resurrection. If you don't believe in Jesus, you end up in hell forever because of sin. And everyone commits sin. That's the reality too. And tell them what God offers. Take that offer. Take that help. Because nobody can help themselves, only God can help them. So this is something you need to put in your sermon. And make an outline. You have the topic, you have the idea about the family now. You make an outline of your sermon. And normally the sermon in funeral will have introduction, transitional, scripture, and transitional to the body. You put application, conclusion, and pray. So this is the general idea of your funeral sermon will have. And each point you can add more application, conclusion, illustration, story, example, to make it more relate to the family and to the dead person especially. And introduction is always important because you get their attention or not because good introduction. You can offer like 50 million death a year. And now you're going to be one of the 50 million one day. And that reality. Introduction have to be big thing, gain their attention. And they pay attention to your introduction, they will listen to your whole sermon. The scripture is plentiful about death or resurrection. There's a list of all kind of things that you can preach for that day. Psalm 23 is one of the popular topic that people preach in funeral. Romans 8 about death and sin, Isaiah 57, John 14 about Lazarus' story, Ecclesiastic is about life and death too. First Thessalonians about resurrection, the future, and Job 19 is about life and death too. So this is some example of the topic that you can choose to preach about funeral. And don't forget the good sermon over end with good conclusion. You have to wrap up the whole thing. And it also include invitation in here too. It's not going to make a lot of sense if you leave them without invite them to accept Jesus or to pray with you about the chance to have a new life. So that is the conclusion of funeral service or funeral sermon in general. So you see that in a funeral sermon is a lot about reality and hope. We also include the sad part about what we lose or what we lost. And in the same time, what we gain and the hope for the better future. So you have to include everything in your funeral sermon. And that's the way you're going to make a good sermon on that topic. Okay, I will stop here and come back to you for your question about the funeral sermon. I don't know how many times that you preached that kind of sermon before, or never. But at least I believe you heard the funeral sermon before. Now, how do you feel when you heard the funeral sermon? What do you think? You think you can do a better job than the preacher? So what in general, when you hear most of the funeral sermon, how you feel and what you get out of that sermon? I heard a lot of funeral sermon. They just talk about the good thing of the dead person. How smart the dead is, how rich they are, how generous, how good they are, and how many people love them. This is the thing I heard all the time. They talk all about good things. Yes, Nathan.
Yeah, Ajahn, a lot of time, most of the time, what I heard is like you mentioned about, we heard about a lot about the passing person's life, that how good he or she was, but as Christian, we always mention about God too. Yeah, but when you, Ajahn, I have a question. When you one time that we have somebody pass away, and that family, we don't see them, we don't go to the house often, and when the member pass away, we kind of, should we go, should we not go, because knowing that they don't open the door often, so it's kind of really hard to make decision. We go, they will say, we're not ready yet. If we don't go, we kind of, it seems that we don't love them. That's what we felt.
Well, there's a saying here among Christian leaders, in their wedding, if they don't invite you, don't go. But in funeral, they don't need to invite you, you still have to go. Why? Yeah, why?
To us, because knowing the family, maybe the house not ready yet. You know what I mean? So we don't want to just go in and say, well, our house not ready, and nothing, the house not organized yet. So that's why we felt. But seems that doesn't matter what we do, it's not the right way.
In wedding, Japan,
Ajahn, so all the time, over here, even the people, they not go to church. They, they invite me, they tell me, but they don't tell before they have form. I go through that. I go to their house, visit them, and ask them, you need help, tell me, call me, that have one family, I tell them go to church, they don't go to church. Their father passed away, I think that 2018. So I went there, talk with them, tell them, say, okay, please, can you do the Theology for me? Say, okay, don't worry about that. That's thank you. You tell me, so, go through this. Right now, his wife comes to us sometime, so we thank God, that we don't separate them, we show the God work with our life, and how God love us and go to love them, tell them, same thing, Ajahn. So other than the Theology, as the preaching in the Theology, I use John 14 verse 6. Sometimes I tell them about this is a beginning. The same you say earlier. This we pass away. This is a beginning. If we know happen in the future, right? Tell them happen in the future. That's God love us, God care. If we don't, if over here good, over there good, Jesus didn't have to come. I tell them that way. That's why Jesus come. He come to die because he don't want us sacrifice in the future. I tell them that way. So this is I think good or not good, but this same Ajahn said earlier, so they don't have to invite us when we pass probably pass away, so we go through it, go to the house, go visit them. ส่วนมากก็เป็นอย่างนั้นอาจารย์เพราะว่าเป็นคนลาวเนาะก็ไม่จำเป็นที่จะต้องให้เขาโทรมาหารู้ข่าวผมก็วิ่งไปก่อนละไปหาเขาก็จะถามเขาแต่ไม่รู้ว่าจะผิดหรือถูก
Yeah, in different culture might have different idea, but as a Christian, time of death is a time that we offer help. Even they don't ask, we still offer to help, because this is the best time that you can witness about God's love, that you care. In many cultures, people are afraid to go to the house of the dead. unless you are friends or very close as a family. But as Christian, we're not afraid of that because we have God love and we want to offer help. And this is the best time to evangelize to people about God's love. Now, I heard some churches ignore people who ask for help in funeral. How you think about that?
ผมตามผมคิดอาจารย์คง you know ขาดแปลว่าเราเสียการที่เรารับใช้พระเจ้าแล้วถ้าเราปฏิเสธหน้าที่ของเราคงจะไปประกาศข่าวประเสริฐตอนที่ same you know me and Pastor คงใช้ the Chico the one family the Buddhism just we only his niece you know go went to church sometime so me and Pastor Kong Sai we go through that you know we don't deny okay you need help we help you we went there do everything we done all the people sitting there no Christian the Pastor Kong Sai preached that day and we sing they record the songs a really nice song we love it you know we thank God you know so that's that we go to if we deny how we are Christian right if we you say no so some that point you know so this time they we help them happy then you know they say oh Christian they know Jesus right they maybe they think that way one day they think they come back to God that's some I think
Ajahn, I heard Nathan ask the question. For us, I guess baby, let mommy talk. Every culture is different because for the Mian, I don't know about
It's just between
Other-
Mian and American
culture. Yeah, like Nathan said, we are Mian, so we kind of in between, you know, American culture and all that. For Mian, when someone passes away, they always need to prepare food. When they, you know, some people they have children, but if they're not around, they cannot help. Then if they are not prepared, then a lot of times they don't want people to come over. When they come over, when they don't have food for them to eat or something, that they feel like they are neglecting or they felt embarrassed, you know. So people go visit, they give them money or bring water, rice, whatever. But some people, if they're not ready, then if you go, then they don't have anything for you to eat or drink, then they feel bad, you know. So it's hard sometimes. Like Nathan said, we have a family that they are leader themselves, but when it comes to the father passed away, you know, we call them, we saw them, we asked them, are you guys okay? Do you need any help? If you need help, please reach out. You let us know how we can help you, you know. They say, yeah, we're okay. We don't plan to have too many service. We only plan for a few service, only maybe one or two. They said they're okay. They are Christian for a long time. They have faith in God, blah, blah, blah. You know, they talk and talk and talk. And I heard about it and I saw them myself and I asked them too. They said they're okay. Later, after the day, they buried the father on Saturday and the next day we're not home. You know, I told them after funeral service, we went back to the house, eat, clean up everything. And we left the house. I told them, I said, we will not be home tomorrow. You know, I guess they didn't say anything to us. So to me, if you need help, you need to be honest, you know. Honesty is very important. If you need us to stay, they should have said, okay, don't go yet, you know. We need your help tomorrow at church or something. We'll hardly go anywhere. That's the problem, you know. We have to train the people up to do the work. And so that way we don't tie down. And we always around, we'll hardly go anywhere. And we told them, I don't know, we have somewhere to go down to the Bay Area. And I told them we would not be home tomorrow. And she said, okay, like that. So we went, and I heard on Sunday, I came back on Sunday, and then I heard the rumor to my ears. And they said, well, they were up there leading worship, and then she started crying, the lady. And I said to myself, yeah, you said, but you said you're a Christian, you have faith in the Lord, so tell us not to worry about you. And later they make it such a big deal about that, about us not being there. And I said, you know what, I'm an honest person. I asked you, not just only me, a lot of people called and asked you. You said you guys okay, I said, if you're not okay, if you're not sure, then don't say yes. Just say, please don't go. Unless it's very important, if you can wait, then wait, They didn't say anything. They're mad at me and Nathan for going on Sunday and not staying at the church. And to me, I don't know. Sometimes they confuse me, So I come flat out and I say, you need to be honest. All the people there, when we have the meeting and I talk about that, I said, from now on, you all learn your lesson and we learn our lesson. I said, you need to be honest as a Christian. If you're not sure, just say, I don't know. Don't go, then we'll stay. You guys say, okay, so we go. It's not like a last minute thing. We plan on it. Everything we do, somewhere we need to go, we always plan our schedule ahead of time. And it's not like we decide to go last minute, So they were mad at us. So sometimes I would say they confuse me. Yeah.
Well, if you ask me,
what will you do?
I think you are too American. You know that the way the agents say they want it, but they say no. And you need to keep offer at least 3 times. When they say no, doesn't mean no.
That this is the people that we work closely with. It's not like it's not someone that they just joined us not too long ago. I know them since we were back in Oakland at like 80 something, So
yeah, they're still Asian, they're still men, but you American a lot.
It's true. I am very Americanized. But it'd be nice for them to be honest. Just say, you know what? I don't know, can you guys stay and not go? It's husband and wife, at least say something, somebody. I mean, when they go out and talk about something, I don't see they have any problem. When it comes to important thing, why not just say, could you guys not go? We might need your help tomorrow. If they would have stayed like that, then we would have stayed.
Now, how old when you came to America, Pham?
Somewhere around 14, 15. I just missed my junior high. It is true. When I'm at a young age, I start to serve in the Mian church when we started even before we started the Mian church at Harbor House. So I always around other people. I am not home as much, so I always out school or do other thing with our church leader, our girl Bible study group. So I'm pretty grounded. So I was around other people. I hardly home, I come only in the evening. It's not that I'm out there doing bad things. It's not, but it's just that we have Bible study. We try to stay in the group. We have a good Bible study teacher that take good care of us. So.
Well, Asian Christian, still Asian. They say no, doesn't mean no.
See the thing, yeah. So after that incident, we kind of think back as, oh yeah, maybe next time. Even though they say no, we should stay. Because they don't talk to us not just only us. Anybody that call them, it's not just only us. Anybody, all the ladies that we work with, a lot of people call them, and they say, "Oh, we're fine, we're okay. We've been Christian for a long time. We have faith in God. We're okay." You know, we're okay. You know, that's how they talk. So, to me, okay is okay.
No, for Asian, okay doesn't mean okay.
Opposite, huh, John? I have to keep it in my mind from now on.
You look at in the Bible, when Abraham asked the guy, the owner of the cave of the land, to buy for salad, to bury salad, the owner said, no, nothing, just take it. Abraham, no, it doesn't mean free. And Abraham kept to asking. He said, oh, nothing, just 300 silver coin, nothing, just take it. Abraham take the money and pay, and he take the money. Even he say no for many times, but he take it. And that is Asian culture.
So Ajahn, so no free fish then.
No. So even they say no, it means that they want it. So you need to keep offer at least 3 times, and they will take it. If they take the first time, people might feel that they're so greedy. So they always have to say no first. I learned the hard way. When I came to America, I live in dormitory. When I cook, my American friend always come by and say, oh, smells so good. I will offer them food, and they always take it. You know that in Asian culture, I expect them to say no, but they never say no. But when they cook, they never offer me anything. So different culture. Now, when you work with Asian, you need to understand that, especially in time of sadness, funeral, even they say no, you still need to go and help. You still need to stick around and be there. And that's the time they need your help the most, even they keep saying no.
Well, I thank you, Ajahn, for your feedback. To me, we've been here for what we call freedom country. We've been here for a long time. It needs to be changed. You know, I know like that's you cannot teach an old dog, you know, but we live here for so long, you know.
Well, if you work with Asian,
very hard for us. I know Asian is Asian, right? It's very difficult. I know we went through that incident, and then we talked to them. We apologized to them, and I said, next time, please be honest. You know, make things very difficult for us, you know, because for us growing up here, you know, the culture is so different. And I felt like we Asian people been here for so long. Sometimes we need to change a little bit. It's good. Because if they being so stiff, then it's really hard for people to work with anybody. So sometimes I feel like I work with a non-Mien is better than with Mien people, because it's just easier, you know. But wherever God leads, there we go, you know.
Yeah, this is why I say you are very American.
I am. But I try to balance myself. I balance myself. I work pretty good with the old people, young people, medium age people, kids. I work very well with everybody. It's just that it's the I wish that people would be more honest about, you know, instead of I feel like if they're not being honest, they're being crooked or something like that. We call right? So if they go like that, it makes things difficult. Not just me, a lot of young people, they misunderstood too, right? So, you know, I think they need to be honest and come out and say, yeah, I need help, just say. Me, if I need help, I'll say I need help. If I say I don't need help, I don't need help. Make people's life easier, you know?
You know that if you went to Asia and work with them in Asia, they say, wow, you're so greedy. When people offer help, you're not supposed to accept it right away. You're supposed to say no. even you want it. Yeah, Kat.
Yeah, John. For me, I'm a thick skin. I don't care not much about that. So until the people who didn't invite me, but I still go for the funeral or whatever. If for the wedding, no. If they don't invite, no, I don't touch it. For the funeral, I don't care. So until they said those people, maybe they just come join for the food, I still don't care about that. Because I need to give love or whatever. So just a little bit help, whatever. So I don't care what they said to me. To me, I don't care, but I'm thick skinned. Never mind. They said maybe they need come here for food, but I still don't mind.
Thick skin.
So Cat is real mean. No, I do agree what Kat said. You know, wedding, yeah, we don't go to wedding. Sometimes even our nephews' own wedding, if they don't give us heads up, if they don't tell us in advance, then if our schedule is tight with the church, then schedule with the church that we don't go. We just tell them, you guys didn't tell us ahead of time. I cannot cancel it. But funeral, if we know, you know, then we go. A lot of time, like Christian pass away, we go. Non-believer, if they are close to us, like our friends, that you know, friends or friend or something like that, we go. If we know, if we don't know, then there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah.
So funeral is different because this is a time of sadness. It's polite that if you call them first or let them know that you're coming. But a lot of time, even they say no, I think you still should go. You don't stay long, you don't cause their problem, but you go there and offer help and bring them some help. That's always a good gesture for Christian. Yes, Nathan?
So Ajahn, how do you differentiate between when they say no but say, wow, come, or in other words, say no, just like don't come. Well, how differentiate between those two no's?
Well, in Asian culture, normally they have to say no at least 3 times to confirm that. But when the first time say no, it doesn't mean no. So keep pushing the second time. And after 3 times, they still keep saying no seriously. It might be really no. But most people won't say no for 3 times, maybe just 1 time or 2 times. So count it.
How about the one thing? So even Mian culture, but two different. One's other culture, one in Christian. In Mian culture, almost the same thing, very simple. I mean, so if Christian family, if they pass away, I don't wait for them ask me or something. I just volunteer the first one from I heard. And then some other culture, they may deny, because you're Christian, you cannot come to my, because, you know, I really appreciate what you try to come, but, you know, my thing is still not very clearly. So that's the way I only give them the envelope. Okay, I'm so sorry about your loss. So I don't go because they're not comfortable. How do I do the right thing?
Yeah, in some religion, like in Islam or Jew, they're very strict on who can join their funeral or get involved in their ceremony. So if they're clear on that, you still can help them in some way, but they don't want you to join in that ceremony. Some church very strict on that. So you need to know exactly what they believe. But still you can offer some help, they will take it.
Yeah, when I see like that kind of people like that, I just give them an offer. Also, I just give them envelope or something because I remember in Thai language the one to say "tak bat ya tham pra." That's the only thing I learned from them.
Yeah. Yeah, the Thai saying that when you want to help someone, you don't need to ask. That help. Mm.
That's clear. Thank you.
Yep. So now what do you think about a sermon in the funeral? What point that you think that we should use often? And all the sermon you heard in every funeral, how you feel they have done the good job? So you see that a good sermon for funeral as a Christian, you're supposed to let them know that we sorrow for their loss, but we have hope for a better future. And also always invite the guests, the family, to have assurance of future by offer Jesus to them. And don't forget to invite them to accept that offer in every funeral sermon that you preach, because that is the best time to invite people to accept Jesus and to think about their life. So it's not just about talking about good thing about the people who pass away. It's about the living too. So don't forget about the living, that we try to help them. Yes, Nathan?
Ajahn, I never heard, I never saw any happen like that. But if you start preaching for the assurance of the eternal life, and somebody say, "Oh yeah, I want to believe right now," how do? You just say, "Okay, praise for that person." On the spot.
In general, we might not do much, but you can pray with them there and ask them to pray with you to accept Jesus to be their God and Savior. But later on, if they want to talk with you after the funeral, after the service, is good. So, or you can ask them to stay on and talk with them more. Okay.
Ajahn, I have another story to share.
Okay.
My cousin, she passed away and she's not a Christian. At the funeral home, and we have a service at the funeral home. Well, they're not Christian, so we go because she's my cousin. And then one lady, Christian lady, consider herself pretty, what we call it, a true believer, have faith in God. She went up there and she shared a little bit about my cousin, and then she started to say, "Oh, so sorry for your loss. Your wife is gone now. We haven't buried her. She's still laying in the coffin." And she said to my brother-in-law, cousin-in-law, and she said,
Don't worry.
"Oh, don't worry. You have children.
You're
young. You're still young. You can marry again," like that. I look at her. I must go up there and yank her down. I said, "This is not a place you talk like that. You Christian people, you lady, you should know better, If you don't talk to him like that, talk later at his house, who cares where, but not at the funeral in front of 50, 70 people, I'm like, oh no. I don't think we should do that, even, especially they're not Christian too, Am I,
No.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know what to try to do. Try to be funny or something. But maybe it's not appropriate.
I told my son, if I die first, if I'm laying still in a coffin, don't let anybody go up there and talk unless they're on schedule and we know that person well enough.
Let that lady go.
Yeah, especially that lady. I said, don't let anyone just go up there and talk because like the way she does is very inappropriate. I thought it was pretty offensive.
A lot of time you cannot stop people who want to talk. And a lot of time people talk nonsense. This is why I saw in some funeral, people ask just a few people to say something, and they ask them to write down what they're going to say too.
I think Ajahn, in the future, you know, like you preach once a month on international Zoom. I think you should teach about that. Wait until you finish the book of Revelation. I think it's good to have that because there's so many people on it. I think they need to hear that. I think people need to be trained. And even though I know sometimes they've been Christian for a long time, they're a mother-in-law or brother sister of the pastor, doesn't matter who, you know, they need to learn to have limits, you know, especially a place that they should not be going up there. I don't think she has any business to be up there. I know, yeah, she go there to support, but I don't see her name on the bulletin. I mean, in the bulletin, you know, sometimes they just open floor, you know, they just open mic and anybody want to come and talk, you know. I think that's not a good idea. We went to many funerals and we make sure that if any of the family wants to speak, then we put it on a calendar, on a bulletin. If not, then we'll say, okay, we just follow by the bulletin. I think that kind of control everything is good. Nothing get out of hand. If they have open mic like that, a lot of times people go up there and just talk nonsense, and I think that's very offensive. I don't know how my cousin-in-law feel, but to me, I feel very offended when she talks like that. And that's my cousin, that's my blood cousin, you know? So I feel like, I don't think you should talk like that. But I didn't say anything to her. But I told my son, don't let her go out. It's my funeral.
If I were there, I might come up after her and say, thank you for your good advice, but I don't think that's the way God wanted. Okay, any more concern or question about the funeral sermon? Somebody asked me that, can we say joke in the funeral? Have to be careful. Quite a few people who died told me in advance that they don't want people to cry in their funeral. They want people to be happy in their funeral. And some even say that, yes, Nathan?
Ajahn, I think they might have good point because they have good faith. But now we have to understand that we are living in this world that you know we have heart, you know. So either way, I think it's okay.
I heard some requests that no black color in my funeral, only bright color. That's the request of the one who died. And I heard that in my county here in Marin County, now there's a new trend. People have their funeral service before they die. You ever heard about that?
No. Wow.
Now they start to have that new trend. They want to have their funeral service before they die. And you ask them why you want that. Well, they say that to make sure that everyone come and everyone that's supposed to come, and everyone said a good thing about me. And I want to make sure that I would thank all of them personally for coming to my funeral. Yeah.
อาจารย์ I
Yeah.
think that's so they said celebrate their death, but when, like what, 6 months before they die, a year before they die, and when you said, and second one is that when you said, you know, you're gonna feed them, but an Indian culture, they said every time they said before, you know, that person died, they said, I want to make sure that people, our guests, are well fed. So maybe that person might be right.
Yeah, I have seen that thing happening now, and people are not afraid of death, and they enjoy it, and they do it before they die. They say that when they die, don't need to have any more service. It's already done. Just burn me and done. I already enjoy my funeral service in advance. Wow, they're so smart. So they said everything I done, I enjoy it. So I want to enjoy my funeral in advance too. Not many Asians will love that idea. Mhm. Anyone of you thinking of that?
I think they should keep the last one anyway. Because funeral, the very last one, I think they should keep that. Even they want to join a couple ahead of time, they can join, because the joy the service or whatever thing for when they still alive, right? Because by the time they're alive, he's or she the last breath, so they should keep the last one, I think, last service, I believe.
Okay, farm first.
Ajahn, if
The internet so poor.
and later if we cannot connect, then we don't have internet, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, we just let Ajahn know.
Okay, enjoy. Say hello to all my students too for me. Okay, Nathan.
I forgot my comment, Ajahn.
I thought that you're going to have your funeral before you die too.
Oh no, I remember now. I've been reading about, they said now people before they die, they're kind of like planning to be resurrected, come back again alive.
Yes.
I was watching one lady, she had tumor or something, and so she planned her death, everything. So she died. No, this is prematurely died. I heard they said they drink all her blood, everything, and they kind of put back some kind of chemical, and she said she's waiting to come back. So do you think it's doable? And what would be like, you know, us Christians, we say we die and we go to heaven, but that person like that, so coming back, what do you think?
Today, there are a lot of service that preserve the body in the form that more advanced than the Egyptian that preserved the body 4,000 years ago. Today, they preserve the body in the form that with new technology, you need to have a lot of money. And they preserve the body that all your body is still fresh, keep everything alive. They're waiting that one day the technology advanced enough to resurrect you. So they believe that the rich people pay millions of dollars to do that. But one who don't have the money to preserve the whole body, they preserve the head. They cut the head off and preserve the head. because they say that they can put the head in the new body. And you see the old person because all the brain still preserved. But if you rich enough, you preserve the whole body. But if not rich enough, you preserve just the head. Now there are many organizations doing that now. Because they believe that one day the science will advance enough to resurrect the dead body. But we Christians know that long time ago that we will resurrect. And even better, you don't need to preserve the body. God will preserve it for you. So that the future. When we Christians talk about resurrection, we not just talk about spirit, we talk about the body too. The body come back, but with new body, better body that God going to give us. So that can be part of your sermon, about funeral sermon, that you give hope to the family and to everyone who believe in Jesus. Yes, Nathan?
So Achan, you said we will be resurrected and will be have a younger body. About what age? 18, 20 something?
I don't know. You think of Adam. When God make Adam, he that young. He not a baby, not an old man, but I don't know how old should be. But in Jewish culture, adult is about 30 years old. Yes, Boone.
I think John, maybe it's ate the same things Jesus Christ alone, 32 years old, maybe. that is on my mind, all the time. I can tell the people in the Pedalo. So we one day the God come back, we have the new body, the same, young, the same. You say maybe 32 years old, same Jesus Christ. He comes, he looks at a new body. I just tell the people that. I think it's right or not right.
We don't know because people age in different time. In the old day, Adam lived to almost 1,000 years. And Noah and everyone, before they have kids, they wait until they're 70, 80, or 90 to have children. So I don't know, the body might age very slow. But today, our body ages so fast and expires so fast. So I don't know what is the real number going to be in the future. Like today, they say that people mature so fast. Like 14, they can have baby now. They're fully grown at 14. So, and they're not going to live very long. 70. And now they die. So I don't know we live a shorter life or not, but people mature so fast. If you look at the Old Testament time, people can be up to 30 years old before they get married. But later on, they get faster and faster, faster. So I don't know exactly what the right number in the future. Okay, before we take a break, I just want to know how many of you are going to preach tonight. Son going to preach, I know that, and who else?
Achan, farm, she tried it. Achan says that she's doing good.
Okay. And your farm going to preach too tonight?
Huh? I just asked her, but she doesn't answer.
How about you, Nathan? You're going to preach?
Not ready yet, Achan.
Oh. Okay. Okay, we're going to take a short break and then we come back to talk about the wedding sermon and some special occasion before you can preach. Okay, you have any more questions before we take a break? Okay, so let's take a break and we're going to come back and try to finish up with the lecture. Now let's try to talk something about the wedding sermon. And you might not do that often because it depends on how many people get married in your church. Many years ago, I do wedding several times a year, but now I do funeral several times a year. So it depends. When I start the church, most people still young, and after that they get married. Now they're old now. And this is the lives of church in America. In the past, the church will last about 50 years, and 1 or 2 generations die off. But now, church in America will last about 20 years and die off. It's so quick, so fast. And the cycle of a life of a church from start to death is about 25 years now. It's so short. So in that 25 years, 30 years, you will have a lot of wedding, a lot of baby dedication, and then pass on to funeral, and then done. Most of the pastors will retire after that or dead. And most of the original people will dead, unless the church revives with new pastor, new team, and new people come in to join the church, and then the cycle start again. Some church will have the cycle several times in that life of the church. But some churches, it look like it died for good. Now, today you go to a big city in America, you see a lot of dead church. When they saw about dead church, mean that no people come to take over, especially in big city. The church might have a building last for 100 or something years, and that church might have a few cycle of life before. Mean that one pastor start until the whole cycle finish, and then a new pastor, new team come to take over the building and start the cycle again. But today it not happen in big city. It's like that people left the big city and go to suburb. And nobody come to revive the old city church, and the building become empty for a long time. Well, in the past 50 years, a lot of new immigrants come and take over the old building and start the cycle again. And that is happened in the past 30, 40 years. But now we come to another point that even the new immigrant left the city. And when we don't have new people come to replace those, the cycle stops. Now, what happened in the future of American church, we don't know. We just have to wait and see. And new church will start. But the way that new churches start in America now is different from the past. A lot of young people now love, I call the shopping mall style church. What that mean? That means that the new pastor will rent a building in the shopping mall or somewhere with a lot of business building, start a shopping mall church, mean that they will have several services in small room. And in that same building, we'll have shopping, coffee shop, bookstore, movie house, and many things to offer the people. People come to enjoy the time in that shopping mall and come into the worship sometime when they want. A lot of people will show up because young people in the modern time love that style, but commitment is not there. I heard some big pastor from that kind of shopping mall church come to ask people for special donation all the time because they don't have enough money to pay their staff. Even tens of thousands of people come to church every week, but not have enough money because no commitment, no real membership. They just come to enjoy the show and they're gone. They're not a real member. So now, how about the life of the church? They have marriage in the church? Not many. They have freedom at the church? No, not many, because there's not a family. It just they come for a short time and they go. Even 10,000 people, very few have commitment as a family. So now they have a new business. Young people today don't get married at church. They get married anywhere they want. And the one who do the marriage can be anyone they want. I see some of their friends marry them, or anyone that they can grab to marry them. But yes, it's not legal, but they go to register with the county, with the city, and they have the clerk or the judge marry them already. They come to have the ceremony just for fun, to take picture with their friend or family, that's all. So the church have very few part in their marriage now. I found out that a lot of young people today don't get married at church anymore. So now the chance for you to preach in that marriage is less. And the marriage ceremony now is very short, 10 to 15 minutes, the whole thing. Now, what can you preach in that short time? You can preach maybe 5 minutes in that 15-minute ceremony or less. So what will you do in that 5-minute to 7-minute sermon? It depends. If you come from a very conservative background, you want to preach a lot about the meaning of marriage and what God have part in that marriage or not. But modern day people don't have time. Everything have to be short, to the point. And this is some advice if you have a chance to preach a long sermon, 10, 15 minutes in your ceremony, then people want to listen to you. You talk about commitment, about God, have part in their marriage, their family, their future together, and their commitment to lifetime. And that is the thing that normally a preacher will teach the couple before they make their vow to God and to one another. And that's mainly about Christian marriage. And you model it when God created Adam and Eve and God put them together as a family, the first couple. And we learn from that. But in real life today, you want to help them because life today is so complicated. And they will face a lot of problems together. How they survive and how they help one another until the end. They need a lot of help. And today you might give them pre-marriage counseling, and after that marriage counseling, and many other counseling if they want or you have time. So you see that this is a process. It's not just one time, 10 minutes and gone. A real Christian marriage will take time and planning. And you as a pastor, your sermon in their marriage is just part of the whole process that you work with them. Give them counseling, prepare them, and do the follow-up. So your marriage a sermon is not the whole thing. It's just part of the big thing, of the process that you work with the couple. So that is the past. But now the present and the future, if you have just one shot, one chance, what can you do in that sermon, in that ceremony, in that time to help the couple to have a good Christian marriage? And this is some advice that you can put in your sermon. A short one, but powerful one. Good example of happy, successful marriage from Christian perspective. You don't need to preach a long sermon here because they don't have time and they don't pay attention to that. But a good example from the Bible, pick up some story and advise them. You can do more in marriage sermon. You can tell a story, and humor can use in that sermon more than in your funeral, because it's more appropriate in your wedding sermon. And it seemed to work very well. But as a preacher, you always want them to put Jesus and God in their marriage and want God to help them to be successful. Because in America, 60% of married couples will divorce. So now you see that the statistic not so good. But you want them to be successful. They need to have God in their marriage to help them. If not, the chance that they will fail is a lot. But you don't need to make them feel bad about all these things. And beside marriage, another thing I talk about special occasion. It depends how much occasion you have. A baby dedication, vow of marriage, house dedication, or many other special occasions that you have to preach. So it's more about the topical sermon when the topic comes. And you can concentrate your sermon on the topic mainly. You mention about the topic and why we come together for today. And the topic is your focus. And most of the time it's short, a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes maximum. Because it's part of the big thing that you could have. A sermon is part of it. It's not the whole thing. So you have to know the occasion and plan your sermon around the topic that you have to preach. Okay, I will stop here. The main thing tonight is about funeral, wedding, and some special occasion. Your sermon concentrate on. And you see that most of this occasion is about topical sermon, mainly. And when you know the idea of the topical sermon is about the topic. And you know how to build a topical sermon. A few points that support the topic. And some Bible verses you can use. But main thing is just about the topic to be clear why we are here and why we preach about this. Okay, I want your reflection or your question on the wedding sermon and special occasion sermon. You can build a sermon on that or Bible study on that topic too. And it depends on how much time you have. It's always good to plan a long sermon, but make it short later on. Instead of planning a short sermon and try to expand it, sometimes it's difficult that way. When you have a 30-minute sermon and you can preach in 5, you have a lot of things to say, and it's always good that way. But if you plan 5-minute sermon and try to preach 30 minutes, now you have a big problem. Because you will talk a lot of nonsense and come back and forth on the same thing all the time because you don't know what to continue. So it's always good to have prepare a lot, but just use some. Okay, you have any more reflection or question concerning your sermon? Yes, Nathan.
Yeah, John, my nephew James' son just got married. Yeah, I noticed that they use the old pastor, then the family pastor. Yeah, he about, I think about he took about 10 minutes, if not less. So it was really fast.
Yeah, it's better to be short and people love to hear it than long and nobody want to hear it. I want to share a little story that happened in Thailand when I was young. I joined a wedding service. And the preacher kept preaching until the groom faint. Not the bride, the groom faint. In Thailand, it's so hot in summer. And in those days, there no air conditioning. The preacher keep preaching until the groom friend, not the bride. Wow, the sermon is so long. And 20 years after that, they divorced. Maybe because the groom did not hear the whole sermon yet. And the bride is so worried about the groom that he fell in the middle of the sermon. So hopefully it not happen in your when you marry someone. So if you think you're going to preach a long sermon, give the chair to the couple first, so they can sit down. And this is the real thing. I witnessed that with my own eye. So from that day on, I always tell myself not too long. But the good thing about funeral is that that person won't come up and complain. But if he did that, you have big problem. Okay, any more idea about your special sermon? Okay, if not, I will give Son the chance now to preach. You have anything to share with us, Green?
I don't really use this often, but I try my best. Let's see. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's not perfect, but let's go pray. Chẳng thì nó cho tôi cho tỏi bây giờ nó cho hồi than thì cái số nó cái nhiều cho chẳng thì giờ cũng cái một chia cái số chia nhiều nhưng tôi cho căn tỏi tôi choเป็นnhiều phía sang tỏi bộ chẳng là ta cao tỏi chia thì cho nhiều bộ này mà I try to put some English letters, and that's how my topic. In Miến they say chiếu panang về bun bua túc diệu. In English that's right and about
the life of Jesus' resurrection give our hope.
In nói kinh sâu mà bun tam mà phua kinh, tại ít kinh chiếu panang bun bua luôn đĩa mà suy miền túc diệu ở túc bùng gọi. Tuy nhiên kinh về hám bua chính chủ xía mèng tinh chấp rằng cha tài tập pháp kinh đúc tàu Giêsu hay hình kia tài như cha in hỏi ở con thảo như cháu Giêsu phàn năng như cháu chiếu phàn năng ỏi phun bua lùng địa miền tú diệu ở tú nên chủ tinh yếm chấp rằng cha tài về miền nhé chú ý về mấy nhé về nhé chú ý về mấy nhé chú ý Giêsu chính chủ tinh chấp rằng cha tài ở miền nhé chú ý chủ tinh đã chính chế xiển chủ tham như ở tham rằng đã phao khỏe nó mà tế tắp phía nó có nhóm phần là ấn rồi về mà nó yếm tôngว่า33 AD nó có tông là nó chẳng tai họ xiển thiên hùng như miền lệ mất cô ý chín linh miền hang bà in hoi mai cào chám thu phải 4 billion miền xiển thiên hùng ý sản nom chẳngอย่าไม่น้อยห้อย像เนี้ย面天别上面那些龙的是他 talk about the back the 33 AD that time the people they believe in Christians 2000 or less but today if more than 2 billion people in Christian ngoài như cháu mày vua mình một tội mà hai tao hiếu tụ phải hai tao tội Giêsu mình tin chấp rằng trả lô ma chán phải dù thái chán liềm chú mấy giấy sẽ thiên hùng căn tội Giêsu mình tin chấp rằng trả tại ở về phi lùng đĩa mà miền nhé chuối chiếu tại về phun bua tu phun gọi về phun bua lùng đĩa màn miền tu chiếu sẽ khảo chiếu Giêsu nhẹ giám giả vua trên dành tay nói với mảng thảo nói rằng này biệt thảo kinh sâu này yếm này ở Epheso yết tăng chết yếm vua khảo kỹ tù nhẹ giám của vua chuẩn tại quảng vua nhiệt chuối nó sẽ thiên hùng thô hải nhé in
Ephesians 1:7. In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance with the riches of God's grace.
Thiên hùng nhiệt ấy nên nhà mạng dạy lùng đĩa màn bình miên mà hạt tàu hay tí tụ Giêsu về tháng này chính chủ bun nên căn nhé độ ton chủ tinh yếm chấp giảng trả bước án mang cả nên tài liệu hăng hà nó anh hai nàng tài xây về thiên hương nhé trả ấy bun nên nhé độ ton chủ bên vị chia nhé cái này ở yếm này Isaiah so chụp phàm trang tự chụp yếm bà sẽ chiếu nhé trả ấy bún nín chủ vào giám bún nín chủ xỉu khấu chiếu lồng nín dấu nhé dấu chìa nhé vị chú ý nhé cái tái nín phong hồ nín nhé xin dấu chìa về vị chú ý nhé cái tái nín chung tụ bột căn nhé hỗ tội và tụ bún nín chàng nhé hỏi nhé đau chiếu anh hay nhé chạy chỗ yếm nên nhé bùa chỗ xuất. Okay.
Yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and cause him to suffer. And though you make his life an offering for sin, He will see his offspring and prolong his days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand.
Lại với nhị chuối thiên hương chủ Chúa Giêsu quân miền tại tại bố mang cá thiên hương nhẹ ên đồ hai lô xuất liễu thiên hương hai tàu hai chỗ tụ hai nái mấy vua miền mơ tỏi thiên tháng này vua họp lông nhẹ căn và chủ dấu họp thiên hương nhẹ nhéo sắc kinh cầm dìa hay thiên hương nấu búa cầm dìa hay chiếu mấy tàu với như tập cầu anh bảo thằngนั้นRoma tập phế trang như chiếm niệm Giêsu chủ tí cứu bùn miền tài xe lại vua như chuối chủ tài tài và thiên hương anh bùn nín nàng dài về bùn vua tụ cháu thiên hương họp nhiều.
He was delivered over to death for our sins and was raised to life for our justification.
Hai tàu và hiếu tụ con chiếu tẻ nhẹ bố anh bằng cả chiếu năng hà no hay hình chế tẻ như cha nắm dễ con câu kinh chiến mày Giêsu hình chế tẻ như cha về chủ thiên hương quân ninh chủ tiên xếp giảng cha tẻ cả hai buôn hoi thiên hương anh quân ninh phản năng tài tổng nói nín hình chế tại như cha quạt tụ chuyên sinh dạy nghĩa ở quạt chuyên như sao yếm nó tự nhị phía tế tơ số tự yết giang trực lội yếm yếm vua mấy chế lồng quay cháo miền bên tài như cầu lại quân mày vua hiếu tụ với như chiếu Giêsu Kitô như cha sao nín anh ở tại dùn như gì sẽ ia bữa can nhiên chính tụ quạt nên nhé hàng tàu.
For we did not follow cleverly devised stories when we told you about the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ in power, but we were eyewitnesses of his majesty.
Bữa lại tu Giêsu tại mình con hỏi anh phan năng tài ia lại tu tông này tế buôn hỏi của nhau nên phá lưu mẹ phá mất dễ Giêsu nên tại mình sở sẽ yếm bàm kên phê diệp lòng diệp hỏi nhớ tóng nên chính tài phá lưu bố mạng cá hai tàu hiếu tụ chiếu Giêsu sở sẽ yếm nái bàm kên mai hai tàu xiên chế cũng yếm con số sâu tại yết trang tại phạm yếm Giêsu chủ hỏi liễu mèng gã pháo gã phế diệp hỏi của nhau nín hình xuất tham dùn bún nín nhé con số vô bọt và châu chế nhung bún nín vô hiếu tú tình nín chặt kinh chẳng kiến nín nhà cháu nín vua con cháu thiên hương chỗ chiếu quân miền cho lộ.
After his suffering, he presented himself to them and gave many convincing proofs that he was alive. He appeared to them over a period of 40 days and spoke about the kingdom of God.
Ông bằng thảo này tự yết Cô-rinh-thô chiếm trang tờ lụa yểm gã nín anh hình bún bè lên tàu căn nín nhê miền lông roi bọt đã tế miền sám kia trò chẳng kiến nhé bà mà tế tại mẹ.
After that, he appeared to them more than 500 of the brothers and sisters at the same time, most of whom are still living, though some have fallen asleep.
Chiếu Giêsu nên hình xuất bún xìa lan miền quật xuống chào ba miền tông pháo tông dìa nên nhà con vua nên nhé công chỗ vua nên hám miền con hám nắng sau con diệt liu nắm bằng các ba miền mà hạt tàu hay mày nãy nhung tham nhé miền châu tổ vua miền châu tổ quân vua ỏi hậu trên quân miền chủ hỏi mèng phải chủ môn yếm nói là mi và chữ yết trang tập phàm yếm chính đàng chiếu yếm cô nhé tòng hình xuất quân in chiều con yên hám mê yết liu hám huệ nái yê chăn chăn chiếc chúa nhé hám mê.
The Lord appeared to us in the past, saying, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness.
Đặng mẹ Chúa Giêsu ôi lê nái phạm kên nên trao hai nhung hòa quân vua mà hai tàu chẳng tu nhé phải mà chiếc tiêu liền và nên hiểu vua lùng y tiêu thắng với chủ chiếc tiêu sẽ chám hại vua mà hai lùng và mà hai cần mấy tu y tiêu hắn nên hiểu vua áp dụng hắn hải nó chỗ hiểu vua hám miền hắn hám cần nó lan hám lan thai kín lan là set mọi conclusion đó thìมื่อJohannจะฟังจังvàจะไปอีสันเยปูนินช่างไม่บัวไม่บัวลานอ้อยจุห้ำลานเอียนห้างหายนอนห้ำบัวไม่บัวอ้อยจุห้างวัวนอห้ำลานเมียนนั่งลานนั่นลานconclusion เราเสร็จไหมว่า
A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another.
โยฮันจะฟังจังว่า发จะ发จะหมู่sẽ có mấy vua làn hám làn trong miền chiều hiếu tu mấy vua cho như sẽ có.
By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another.
Đã mẹ Giêsu phá thiên tông và tu cha và bun bùa lan sụn hám lan dìa lan mày nói chiếu ỏi tàu bùa tu Phật nín và sở nín tông yếm quyền hàng nái bùa lén chinh chiếu anh tu nàng tài chẳng kiến sở bùa nó nói tông yếm ở amen họ nó sẽ nó tông của trang của đảng của tế nằm mai yếm này để tế yết bố Phật Giêsu nín hình kia tại như cha nín tại bố truy miền tu diệu sẽ tông nín tu cùng gọi tông nín như giám điều gì tông nín bố truy miền tu cùng gọi hết tình nín vua quỷ hết tiêu ní hai hình kia tại như cha tông đã được tạo Giêsu ní hai hình kia tại như cha nóเพราะแต่ฟ้าเนี่ยเอาจ้าว่าปุ่นบัวเส้นหมวยนี่ฝ่ายทิ้งตองจ้าว่าปุ่นบัวอย่าจุงลานทำลานนั่งตากินลานเนาะถ้าเสร็จตามมาปุ่นนั้นเนาะแห่งจริง
Have a great week. God bless all.
แรงจริงจากเจ้าทิ้งหุงอีเหมือนยี่เจ้าคุณแต่ยี่สิ่งลิงเจ้าอีเหมือนยี่ก้องยี่เจ้าสมาปุ่นนั้นปัจเจ้าจากเตียกวางยี่จุยยี่ก้องจุยี่ตองยี่มาเชื่อมนอนตองสำนอนตองเนี่ยตัวเจ้าanh cha thông minh như hay quay như hiệu keng như thế thông minh cũng như hay con tại các luôn để tiếp ban ở sang thì chính có thể chơi suy như bùa ta cao. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so what kind of sermon that you preached today, son?
Expository.
Okay, if you say expository, you know how to build one. Expository, the whole division have to come from the same passage. What is your passage that you use?
Let me see.
You say that Jesus life give hope to us.
Yeah.
That's your topic. What Bible verses that you use to support that?
Let's see, I think FSO something first to chapter verse 7.
Okay, expository or division have to come from that passage.
Okay.
But it looked like you used a lot of Bible verses. So if that's the case, it's going to change your sermon to be the topical.
Okay.
Expository is one passage only. You need to concentrate on that passage, that expository. You go deep on just one passage. When you use many Bible verses to support your topic, it becomes topical sermon. And now, even a topical sermon, you need to tie them all up together. Like you talk about the resurrection of Jesus gives us hope. Now you need to have the main reason why you choose that topic, and the body need to support that topic. Now you need to say that if you say that the resurrection gives us hope, now each division need to support that idea. Now our friend can help what you think that is a good division that son can use to support that title or topic. The resurrection gives us hope. Yeah, Nathan.
I'm not criticizing, but I'm just wanna let San know. At first I thought looks like a topical. So when he came pretty much at the end, like I was a little bit confused. But that's all. I don't know what to say. I'm learning too.
Yeah, you see that we need to have preposition. And you see that need to tie up all the division together. Now, what you try to tell us is the resurrection gives us hope. Now you can concentrate on what kind of hope that we get. For example, you might say that the first hope is better life. That one point that you use the Bible to support that. Or we have hope that we're not going to die again. Or hope that we're not under the power of sin anymore. And the hope that we're not under the power of Satan anymore. Something that you use Bible verses to support that. So that can be the topical sermon about the resurrection gives you hope. Hope that now you're free from sin, you're free from Satan, and you're free from death. And that's the three main points that you can use to support your topic. And as a topical sermon, it just try to find a way to support the topic that you choose. Okay, other person you want to advise son in some way to improve his sermon? So Nathan, you understand me, you can tell me more.
I think he's okay, Ajahn. I don't know what to say. He's I think he's doing okay, Ajahn. But Ajahn, when you said that expository it comes from one passage. It can be from one paragraph too.
Yes, it can be just one verse or several verses that you choose to support your topic to a title. But you see, to be expository, you have to concentrate just on one section of the passage that you're going to use, because it goes deep in that section to explain the whole meaning of that section. It's different from topical. The topical, you care about the topic, that's all. You can get from anywhere to support your topic. So the goal is different.
Thank you. Now I know how I should fix, how should I know how to solve this problem, because many times I asked somebody that didn't give me details, so I don't know how to fix myself. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you for everybody. Give me idea. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, it's simple. Topical is you want a topic, and then you need to answer the topic. Everything has to come out to support that topic. If you say that the resurrection gives us hope, now what kind of hope? And I give you some example. The first hope is free from sin. The second hope is free from Satan. The third hope is free from death. So that's simple about the resurrection. Give us hope. And you find the Bible verse or anywhere to support that three idea. And that a good topical sermon on the title of the resurrection, give us hope.
Yeah, John, I think Son did good. I mean, for starter, I heard him share many times at his church, and I think he did good. Probably just need to work around a little bit, need a little bit more meat. Yeah, I think he did good.
Yeah, I think it's the good sermon always come out from the good outline. You need to be clear from the beginning what you try to teach or preach. And if you have a clear, good outline, everything you put in going to be even better. But when your outline is not clear, whatever you put in is not going to be clear. And I say that you have a man head, you need to have a man skeleton, and put everything in, it come out as a man. A lot of time our sermon have a man head, but a dog body or something. It doesn't make sense. It become alien. But it still look like something. But we want your sermon to be perfect. So this is something that we try to help you when you learn the basic of writing a sermon. The outline need to be clear. Yeah, you need to ask yourself a lot what you try to tell the people and build on that clear outline. Okay, anything else you want to share, San?
That talk I said about three different one, right? So the first, there is Jesus' resurrection because the people, human, everybody have sin. We free from sin. That's the first. Then the second, because everybody got hope because he after his resurrection. And the third, so that means just only one man. He the whole earth, and then only one Jesus can be resurrection, no one else. That's the outline.
Yeah, you see, the good sermon, the outline have to support the main idea.
Okay.
And what you try to do now is that classical sermon. It means that a storytelling.
Okay.
A storytelling is don't work the same way as modern sermon that we do. When you look at how Paul or Stephen preached, they tell the story from the beginning to the end. And the story go on from the old time to the modern time. But modern day preaching, we use a different way. We try to tell people the reason or why. That I always say that the simple way of modern day preaching is you try to answer who, what, where, when, why, how. Sometimes you can answer 5. Sometimes you can answer just 1, who. For example, who is Jesus? And your whole sermon just try to answer who is Jesus. Son of God, Savior, good friend, or whatever that you use the Bible to answer that question. Or what Jesus did for us. Die for us, save us from sin, save us from Satan. Listen to our prayer. You use Bible verses to support that. So you answer that one question. What Jesus do for you? Does for you? But sometimes you try to answer 3, 4 questions. But you need to build the topic to support. For example, you want to keep your outline that way. You might say that what resurrection means. The meaning of resurrection, the meaning of Jesus' resurrection. And now you have more freedom to say that the resurrection of Jesus means that He's the only one who come back from death. So you can keep your outline if you change your topic, change your title to fit your outline. So my point is, everything need to go together.
Okay.
Okay, so either change the topic or change the outline to make it go together. Like they say that, why don't you go to work? Now you have to tell the reason. Okay, modern day sermon is that way. We try to answer just something. We cannot tell everything. So we have to come back the next week to tell another story. I know in the old day, the preacher tried to tell everything in 2-hour sermon or 3-hour sermons. Sorry. Okay. You have any more suggestion for some? You yourself, son. Well, it's a good job. If you preach for just learning how to preach, you can make up a lot of things.
I make him busy, so he kind of shy.
Well, but you have done very good job for a beginner.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I do my best because right now I don't have no job. I have nothing because I'm stressing too much. Sometimes I skip everything. Sometimes all everything come together at the same time.
Yeah, but one thing at a time.
Thank you. God bless.
Okay, thank you for trying so hard. Work so hard for it.
I try to get better than that, but still so hard.
Yeah, another good way is listen to other famous preachers, how they preach, and learn from them. You don't need to copy them, but you learn from them how they make a good sermon. There is a lot of them on internet, on YouTube, or many places. Listen to some of those preaching. And that should be an assignment to listen to other preachers and try to make note how they preach. And that will help you a lot. When I was a young preacher, I go to listen to other preachers and make note, to learn from them how they make their sermon, how they preach. So that is the skill we have to all practice to learn from other preachers, how they preach, how they write the sermon. Okay, any more advice or suggestion?
Your
Yes.
PowerPoint is very clear, I feel, but I mean, yeah, it's nice and clear, but maybe you need to explain more. I find that, maybe because we don't understand it, but yeah, I feel that it's kind of short for me, but yeah, maybe you could maybe explain it a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I spread my language. That's the reason why.
Did you mute it?
Thank you.
Okay, any more advice?
Sorry, our laptop just went dead on us. I think the charger is broken. Sorry, my little one.
Okay. If you don't have anything else, we're going to take another break and come back for a different class. Okay. So the history of the Bible, tonight we're going to concentrate on the English translation from the 16th century until today. And that mainly because the English translation is one of the major translation in the world. And most of people in the world can understand the English language Bible pretty well. So it becomes the main version of the world. We're going to learn more about how it have been translated and have been used all over the world. And the English version becomes standard for every other translation in the world today. Today, we claim that we translate the Bible into so many languages. If you talk about sub-languages too, today the Bible translated into several hundred languages. If you talk about minor or division or dialect, it may be up to 1,000 dialects now. And every version always claim that they translate from Greek and Hebrew, but in fact, they use the English version as standard. And they might use the Hebrew and Greek to compare. And that's every version do that. Why? Because it saves a lot of time. If you try to go back to Greek and Hebrew and translate to your own native tongue, it's going to take forever. But yes, Pham?
Dan, would you share your screen, please?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we talk about the English translation. We have been talking about many versions of the English from the past. But now we're going to concentrate on the modern one. And for the modern one, you will see that there's so many versions in English available. Every church, every denomination try to have their own translation. And as I say that every group claim that they translate from the original Greek and Hebrew, but in fact, they don't do that. Why? Because, as I say, it could take them forever. So the shortcut, the fastest way is use one of the English version and correct it, change it for their own version. And everyone doing that, they accept it or not, the fact is they're doing that. Because this is the fastest way, the easiest way. Because most of the standard English version have been worked so hard for several hundred years from Greek and Hebrew. They use thousands of scholars and they search, they compare, they work so hard. And all the English main version are standard version that the whole world today use it as the guide, as the standard to translate to every single languages in the world, thousands of them now. And the English version have a few that you might call standard that every version in the world use, like NRV, NIV, or King James Version. That the three main versions that everyone use. Compare with the Greek version and the Hebrew version. When they use the word compare, mean that when they translate, they use the English as the main one, and they compare with the Greek and the Hebrew version too, to see the difference and to see why the English version select a certain translation. Because every Greek and Hebrew words have so many words that you can't translate, many words that you can choose. But why the English version choose that certain words? And when you go to translate from English into your native language, you have a lot of choices too. But why you going to choose a certain words? You need to go back to the English. That's why they choose a certain words. And in your language, in your culture, you have to think that your choice is the best choice or not. So this is the committee come into the picture. All translation don't use one person, but they use the committee. When I say the committee, mean that they use several people do the translation by themselves first, and then they compare the translation, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, several one of them, and they try to select the best by working together as a team. So they have so many teams working on different books, and each team do the translation and compare verse by verse, chapter by chapter with the team. And they meet, discuss, select the best option they can take. So this is how they work in every translation. So when you interview some of them, you get some idea and get the idea that they are not the only one who make decision, but the committee, the whole team, work together several years until they come to the final decision that this is the best option the team decide. The English have been doing this for 500 years, and the job is not done. They still have the committee who working on the new version that will come out in the future. So every few years, the new English translation or version will come out every few years. and you ask them when they're going to stop, the answer is never stop, because language evolving every day. The version that we use today going to be out of date in a few years because the language changed. So the Bible need to change with the language, with the people, to update ourselves. Besides that, they say that they found a new version, not the new version, the older version of the original Greek and Hebrew, somewhere in the cave, in the Dead Sea, in the desert. And they found out that, well, it's older than the version we used. So we go back to study the older version to see the difference. If we find some differences, we concentrate on that. Because every version it has some differences. Because every version worked by hand, copied by hand, not printing shop. Modern day we use printing shop. Every single copy are the same, is the same. But in the old day, they copy by hand. Every copy are not the same. Every copy different a little bit. So we always honor the oldest version because they have the less mistake. When you copy or copy, man tend to make some mistake, not intentionally, but because they work hard alone in the dark of the night, and then they forget a dot, forget a line, or a dot, a line fall out from their writing, copying. It happens all the time. Now, some of the English version that we have been using for the past many years, for the year 2022, we found out that some of the English popular version, 10 of them, NIV. And the NIV is the 1978 version that's still in use. ESV, English Standard, 2001, that's the modern one. Living Translation, 1996. King James, well, they always claim that 1611. Even they have many things coming out in that 500 years. King James always claim that they never change, but it's just what you want to believe them. But in fact, the King James Version have been changed so many times in that 500 years. Christian Standard Bible, 2017, New King James coming out in 1982. Reina Valera, 1602. New International Reader Version, 1996. American Standard, 1971. The Message. This is more of the paraphrase, the modern day version of coming out 2002. So this is the 10 popular version in English of today that people using the most, more than any other. But the English version have hundreds of versions. But this is the 10 most popular that we're using today in English world. And there is more information about each version have a minor correction or minor improvement, and some version adopted by the Catholic. By the way, to say that this is all adopted by the Protestant churches. But when the Roman Catholic Church want to use some of those versions, they normally add more books into those versions, like RSV. When the Catholic want to join and using that version, they ask the editor to add 10 more books into the RSV to make the Catholic version. In fact, more than 10. So they allow the Catholic to add many other books into the NRSV version. So the Catholic Church will accept it and buy it and allow the people to use it. That means that several million more people. So they approve that and put clear that this is the Roman Catholic version. In 1962, they approved that. So this is why the Roman Catholic have the RSV version, but not the same as the Protestant have, because they add many into that version. And many other versions will have some other church adopt it, like the Orthodox. The Orthodox also asked to add more 15, 20 more books into the Bible. The Protestant have 66 books in our whole Bible. The Catholic have almost 80 books. The Orthodox have almost 100 books in the Bible. So, and you ask that the Catholic and the Orthodox will have done with the Bible? The answer is no, because they believe that the leader, the Pope, can write new Bible all the time. So that means that it never stop ending, adding more books. Whenever they have new teaching, they add more Bible to support their own teaching. So they're making new Bible all the time. And the modern development is thinking about new people, young generation, that they want to use the Bible. So the new version coming out for young people and for children. They use the language that those people understand, or new people that they understand the language. So new version have to come out all the time. Well, somebody say that just try to sell Bible. Well, that one point, yes. But another point is we want everyone to read the Bible. Whatever we can help them to enjoy reading the Bible, we will do it. And all the translators love to have that. That's the whole purpose of translating the Bible, so everyone can have a chance to read it, enjoy it. That's the words of God. Now we come to see more of translation. From the 18th and 19th century, we go backward a little bit to see that how the English version have been developed from 1752 down to modern day. And some versions have been developed and improved without stopping for that 400, 500, 600 years. Keep doing it. And now we come to the 21st century now. The King James or the daughter of King James Version. King James always claimed that the version is 1611, never changed. But as I say that, there's so many versions coming out and change is everywhere, but they don't accept that it changed. They just say that is the correction, improving. Whatever you call it, it's not the same old King James 1611 one. 11, it's different. And here more about the daughter of King James Version. When they say the daughter, what that means? It means that they use the King James Version and change a little bit and call a little bit different name. For example, they call Webster Revision of King James, Children King James the Second. That all come from King James, but change a little bit. And this is King James 20th century edition. 21st King James. So every few years, new version of King James coming out, but they never accept that they change. They always say, we original, we never change. But if you compare each version with the original, there's a lot of change going on, a lot of differences. But they never accept that they change. They always claim that they are the original. Well, that make them happy. But we know that for that 500 years, King James have improved, changing, adapting so many times, a lot. And now we look at different versions like the Revised Version. They also have many daughters that come from that mother version. As I say that all the new version use the old original one and correct, improve, and change for different group of people. But the master always, or the mother one always, the original one. The daughter one just change a little bit for different group of people to help them understand better. And this is the mother one we call English Revised Version. The mother of many other versions, later on called American Standard, Revised Standard, all kind of standard, it comes from English Revised Version. Now the NIV, one of the most popular in every church, because it intended for normal, regular believer that can understand it very well. And this is one of the most popular version for general public who use it, NIV. You heard it all the time. And NIV have so many daughter versions. When we talk about daughter version, mean that they use NIV as a mother and revise it, improve it, change a little bit for different group of people who need that version. And they have a reason why, but NIV have some problem. For example, this version we call NIV inclusive language, mean that they try to be political correct. Now, when you try to put political correct into Bible, it's a disaster. Nobody buy it. And a lot of church protest about this version. So they cannot sell. And they lost money. So they stopped printing this version. And today, new international version too, they stop it because it changed too much and most people cannot accept it. So these two versions, main problem is they try to be political correct. And this is not something the Bible want to deal with. The Bible is still very conservative and try to keep the original intention of the language, not try to be political correct. When the Bible tried to do that, it failed. It's not our job. So these two versions correct. Now, more modern translation in every language we call dynamic or paraphrase. So what that mean? It means that they don't try to keep the original Greek and Hebrew meaning anymore. They try to make modern day people in every culture understand the Bible by changing the meaning. So they intend to translate, not just translate, interpret the message that people can understand. Now the problem happened. When you try to interpret the Bible, it means that you only judge the passage from your own standard and tell people that this is what God tried to tell you. But I already decide for you what God wants to tell you. So this is the problem of paraphrase or dynamic version. But they say it helps modern day people to understand the Bible better. And non-believer can get the message. Well, yes and no. Yes mean that, yes, it's easier. But no mean that you change the intention of the Bible to fit what you believe. So this is the problem. But it helps a non-believer to understand the Bible to a certain extent. And a lot of time we use it to give away to non-believer. At least they get some idea what the Bible try to teach, but not exactly God's intention. But it has been used a lot and seem to be very successful. It try to make it as cheap as possible, all this version, and they give them away free most of the time. Now we are in the time of internet, and a lot of people don't buy books anymore. And the same thing with at Bible. Modern day people don't buy Bible. They go to internet, they download the app, and the Bible is in their phone, in their tablet, in their computer now. And we call the internet-based translation. It's not just copy the old translation, but they make a new version. They use a lot of computer and new technology to help them translate, improve, and make it work for the new people. And here's some version that use the, you might call new technology to help them translate. New English Translation 2005, Open English Bible, still working on, and Leckham English Bible 2011. Now the new thing that working on today, 2020, 22, 23, by use, you might call new technology, new intelligence, to do the translation. So we should work on that, and something coming out that modern day people love this. We use new technology to translate the Bible. And we will see how it's going to work more in the future for new people, new generation. And now we'll go back to some translation that try to do this for the Jew. Now the Jew have Bible, Old Testament Bible for a long time, but now Christian try to do it for the Jew, mean that we translate it into English for the Jewish, modern day Jewish who are Jew by culture, but they don't know Hebrew anymore, and they need to read English version, but based on the Hebrew culture. So this is some version that Christian try to translate it for the Jew and call in the name of the Jew with Messianic translation for the Jew. New Testament, Old Testament, but based on the Jewish culture, tradition, understanding. And many more. When we talk about the English version, you can name it and everything available. And some public domain mean that this is free, and this is the intent for everyone, and they post on internet, no copyright. So this is the modern day translation of the English Bible. Now here is some Roman Catholic translation. The Roman Catholic Church normally don't do their own translation. They have one they call Latin Vulgate that translated by Jerome around the 8th century. And the Catholic Church have been using that version for thousands of years. But nowadays, in the 20th century, they start doing more of that translation. So this is some example of the Catholic Church try to do some translation and to use it for themselves. And the Catholic from different parts of the world try to help. So this is something that coming out in the past 20, 30 years. And this is more of the Catholic translation that they have been doing in England and many other parts of the world. And most of them based on the Latin Vulgate, the original version, and they change a little bit to improve it with modern day English. But the interesting is most of these versions are in English, not in other language. Now we talk about translation the Bible into modern day Jewish language. Now we go back that way. You see that in the past we translate from the old Hebrew into English. Now we try to translate it, the old Hebrew into modern day Hebrew for the Jew. And this is something that they try to do now. What the difference between old Hebrew in the Bible and modern day Hebrew? Oh, a big difference. It's 4,000 year difference. And when you talk about the language of 4,000 years ago and today, it's almost completely different. So this is now they try to make the new Jewish version by translate it from the old Jewish 4,000 years ago into modern day Jewish version and many other versions coming out. And this is because Septuagint translation. You know that when we have the first Septuagint, we translate from Old Hebrew into Greek. Now, modern day, they try to do the same different way. They try to do both way, mean that they try to translate the Bible into modern day Greek, or try to translate the Greek Septuagint into modern day again. Why? Because, as I say, that a lot of translation today did not do it from the original Greek or Hebrew now. They do it from the English version. So now some group try to go back to the Septuagint version. The Septuagint version is allowed 2,500 years ago when the Jews translate the Old Testament into Greek, that 2,500 years ago. And it became a standard version beside the Hebrew version. But for the last several hundred years, we don't use Septuagint that much. We use many other English versions. But now some group try to go back to translate from the Septuagint, the old Greek version that have been translated from the old Hebrew 2,500 years ago. So this is something that coming out that they try to do. And modern day simple English that they try to do, now it's interesting, Jehovah Witness version. Now when you talk with Jehovah Witness, they always claim that we have the same Bible, but no, in fact it is not. They claim that they translate the Bible from Greek and Hebrew, but most of the time we find out it's not true. They just use the standard English version and change it to fit their need, to fit what they want. And we can a lot of proof because it's exactly the same thing. They just change a few words to fit their teaching. So this is all the Jehovah Witness version. And now this is the Mormon version. The Mormon also claim that they have the same Bible as Christians. But we found out that it's not exactly the same thing. When you talk with the Mormon, they will have two Bibles. The first one they call the Book of Mormon, translated by Joseph Smith. And the second one is the regular Bible that we have, but they change a lot of things in there too, to fit their teaching. So this is the Mormon version. And We may have many more versions of the English Bible that you can look at some example here. So many things that I say that it's not, you don't even know why they translate so many versions into English. But as you say that different group want their own Bible to fit their need, to fit what they believe. So they make their own Bible. So you might say that today, if you count English version, have several hundred versions, so many. But if you want to go back for several hundred years, you might say English have thousands of versions now. So many. And this is go back to the Hebrew Bible. Now, we try to translate the Bible into modern day Hebrew. And this is some of the version that they have been successful. Translate the Bible, but it's not the whole Bible. It's just part of the Bible. Translate into modern day Hebrew for the modern day Israel who can understand it. So it's not going to make a lot of money, but people still hope that it's going to help the Jew to understand the Bible correctly as Christian belief. So this is the effort by Christian, not by the Jew. The Christian try to help the Jew to understand the Bible the way Christian want and the way Christian hope. So this is why the Christian translate the Bible into Hebrew for the Jew. So this is very interesting story. Okay, I will stop the lecture and come back to you for your reflection or question. And mainly, I want you to see that we learn all these things so we can go back to the translation of Bible into your own language, your own culture. I want you to study that and compare with the English Bible, the translation into many other languages. But how about in your culture, your language? I want you to do the project of interview someone or the team that do the translation of Bible into your own language or culture. Talk with them, get the idea how they do their work, how successful, what difficulty. And they can give you a lot of advice for the future, how they think about the translation. Okay, now you have any more comment or question? What we learn, why we learn about the history of the Bible? Yes, Nathan.
John, how did the Mormon book came about? Did he translate it from some book, or he just wrote by himself from his own idea?
Okay, Joseph Smith claimed that the angel gave him 2 tablets of gold that contain all the Book of Mormon. So he do all the translation himself. After that, the angel come and take the tablet back. Maybe the angel afraid that he will sell it. So he said that he don't have any proof because the angel took it back after he finished the translation. But a lot of people claim that the Book of Mormon come from another preacher who wrote the story, a novel. It's based on, not on Christian theology, but based on Buddhism and Hinduism. You see that a lot of teaching in Mormon come from Buddhism and Hinduism. It's not Christian. And that the story that is a make-up story. They say that Joseph Smith worked in that publishing house and stole the copy and claimed that he himself wrote it. I don't know, you have a chance to read the Book of Mormon. It's like a novel. the story that Jesus came to America, met American Indian, and started the church in America. And all the teaching it come from Buddha and Hinduism. And that is the novel that somebody wrote it. But Joseph Smith read it and liked it and claimed that he the one who get it from the angel. So that's the story about the Book of Mormon. You have any other idea about where the book come from? And another thing about the teaching of the Mormon is it's not done. A lot of their leaders will make more teaching, more theology, because they claim themselves to be the prophet of God. So they always have new things from God to tell the people. Any one of you start the project of interviewing people who do translation the Bible in your own language?
We got the history of Mian Bible translation, but we have to send it to you, Ajahn, from CW Colorway.
Oh, I also want you to talk with him, not just the paper he wrote, because what's the difference between just the paper he wrote and talk with him? Well, you can ask a lot of questions that he did not tell. He did not share. That we want to know. For example, what kind of question we want to know that he won't put in the book?
Maybe how hard was it? to 5 words?
Yeah, what the obstacle, how many times that he want to give up on what keep he going on, how many years, a lot of things that he won't tell, but unless you ask them directly.
Okay.
And that will help us to know and understand more.
To appreciate more.
Yeah. We always think that it's so easy. So that is the secret that we can learn from them, how they persevere on until it's done. Well, when I say it's done for them, but now it's your turn, because the translation will never end, never stop. Revision will have to start and keep going on all the time. Who knows, one day, one of you might be in the team of translating Bible in your own language. So how about Poon? You talk with your friend about interview some Lao translator?
And try Ajahn, so really hard to to look who the translator this one. I look in the in events, me and Ajahn Hosai, but so many people they translate this book.
Yeah,
So,
talk to some of them and get advice, and they can recommend you to other people to interview them.
That's why I want to know who the translate this book. This one I think 2010. I think this one I use right now. They call the Holy Bible in reverse Lao version yeah, version 3 edition. This one I translate from United Bible Society อาจารย์ but I asked อาจารย์ I twice looking try to ask some who know more who know about this one this Bible maybe I call pastor pastor is that he lives in Stockton. We try to I look in his phone so I call his own phone he's saying so maybe call Alilam maybe they know.
Sometimes you get in touch with United Bible Society itself, that you get all the information. You can write them email or something, and they can give you information.
Okay. Maybe so. อาจารย์คงใช้ come back so try again. Yeah, try again. So thank you อาจารย์
Welcome. So no, Lee Yong help you to interview some Thai translator.
No, he's so busy, Ajahn. I don't know where to start too.
Well, he have a lot of connection. He can ask a few people.
Looks like he has a lot of connection, but he doesn't have any connection.
Yeah. Well, if he doesn't want to, I can connect you with someone. One of my distant relative or also support relative too used to be the chairman of Thailand Bible Society. So he supervised all the translation of the Thai Bible. So he already Thai, but I think I can connect you with him.
Yeah, maybe I'll go into Bible Society, Ajahn, and I'll ask them first.
Yeah. Yeah, or you can go directly to that society by email or by phone. They can help you a lot. In Thailand, it's good because they have an office. It's different from the Mien or the Lao. I don't think they have any office for the Bible Society. Okay, besides that interview, what's else project that you do for this class that you want to share with us? We have maybe 4 more weeks to go before the end of the semester.
So we will finish by this month then.
Let's see.
I think so. Yeah.
We're going to finish by May the 12th. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more weeks. Today is April 14. We finish by May 12. So 4 more times. So whatever project you want to present, you have to do within these 4 weeks.
But the preaching you finished already, Ajahn.
The preaching we might be I might have one more lecture next week, and then the rest is open up for our students to preach.
You already sent 12, right? Or
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
John, we have time?
Yes.
We do? Okay, then I want to share mine. I'm gonna try, but let me
Share
see.
what?
I'm gonna try.
What you going to share?
The armor of God.
Oh, you going to
Yes.
pray preaching?
I'm gonna share, not preaching.
Oh, this is the wrong class.
Well, like you said, lady don't, well, in Amiens church, we don't preach, we share.
Okay, okay. But I think you have to wait for next week because this is Bible, history of the Bible.
I was gonna do earlier, but my laptop went out on me. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, that we'll plan for next
Next week.
next Friday. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Today we don't have enough time. You
Yeah.
can just add on about the project of Bible, history of the Bible.
Okay, I'll try. Yeah, I just talked to Nathan because the people that translate the Bible, one of them is in Thailand,
Mm,
and the other one is in Canada. So I don't know if she's still alive or not. Those are the two that have been working for so many years. And I think it was the last August, they finally finalized recording the Old and New Testament. And it was done by Maceo and her sister-in-law and with Jeff from Seattle. So with Kaming, they finished recording everything. So it's complete. But I don't know in the future if they still want to edit it or not, but it takes them very long time to get it done, almost 10 years.
You talk about the audio version.
I think it's a new version. Audio, yeah, audio recording.
Okay.
Never done now. So if anyone wants to listen to it, then they can just download the app and then they have it old and new. So the two people, yeah, I think the lady in Canada, I don't know, she had a lot of health issues, so I don't know if she's still around or not. But the Mien person in Thailand, I don't know how to get a hold of him. But we'll do some research. We'll see how much we can come up with. Maybe I can call Jeff and interview him because he's been with Maceo and them for 10 years.
I think you can talk a lot with Ajahn Callaway. I think he the last one that know a lot, and he very old now, more than 100 years old now.
I think 101.
Yeah,
He had yeah,
interview him before he passed away.
I know. But I don't know. He has a hard time hearing too. So I'll see what I can do. I email him, asking him some few questions, and he sent me the summary of when the Bible came about and all that. So maybe I can do some reading and do summarize from there too.
Yeah, read what he sent you first, but I still want you to ask him some more personal question beside what he put on the paper.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
Okay. Okay, you already know your project, what to do. And let's see, what's else that I require you to do for this class? Okay. Okay, you have class attendance, you have group study. Let me share screen with you first. Let's see. Oh, where the screen gone? Oh, let's see. Let's see. Okay, did you see that? Or maybe not. Let me try again. Wow, how come it disappear? Okay, anyway, I think you have some project beside interview the people who do translation. You can either do the translate the lecture note or do some other special project. I'm not so sure about what I require you to do.
I think you require 2 paper, John.
Yeah, let's see.
One will be on the history moment.
Okay.
And the second one would be chosen Bible book.
I think one of them, Ajahn, you said that for us to maybe match the Bible, read the English and read in Armenian and see what we think of to see if they translate right or not. I think that's what you want us to do. I think that's one of the, I don't know what to call it, but I remember you said that we can do one on that.
Okay.
You said do one book, yeah, pick one book and then read, in Thai or in English or English and Yen to see how well they translate it.
Or the background history.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now maybe I find a file. Okay. Topic paper. Or comparison of the translation. And because this is the requirement might be too complicated. I just want you, if you want to do this one chapter of translation, I want you to compare your language with the English, one of the English language, and see that how the people do a good job or not. Pick one chapter of translation in your language, compare with the English language. And the English language that I want you to use it, either NRSV or RSV.
NRSV ใช่ไหมครับอาจารย์ครับ
Yeah, NRSV, compare with the NRSV.
Okay. Compared to English,
Yeah, pick up a chapter in your translation in your language and compare with the English language and see that how they do a good job or not and why they use a certain words in each words that important.
Okay.
So that you can tell that the quality of the translation that you feel is good or not. Okay, this is one project that I want you to do. Just pick up one chapter. And number 5 is just what we just talked about. You interview the people who do the translation of Bible in your language. And you don't need to do number 6. Number 6 is if you don't want to do 4 and 5, you do 6. But if you do 4 and 5, it's good enough. You don't need to do 6. Okay, so you have 2 papers to present. One is the comparison of English language and your language, 1 chapter. And the second project is the interview of the people who translate Bible in your language. So that 2 projects. And you have just 4 more weeks. So start doing it.
Yeah.
John, when you said if number 6, we just do 1 chapter, right?
Number 6 is different. If you don't want to do number 4, number 5, number 6 is the whole textbook.
Ooh, that's a lot, the whole text. That's too much. We don't even have time to do anything.
So do 4 and 5 easier.
Yes, sounds good.
So do 4 and 5, I think it's a lot easier. Okay, any more questions before we're done for tonight? Okay, so let's pray and I can let you go for tonight. Loving God, we thank you again tonight. What we have learned, I lift up everyone before you. Help them, protect them, and guide them, provide for them. Give them the wisdom, the understanding, and be with them until we come back again next week. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, God bless all of you.
พระเจ้าพรครับอาจารย์
Have a good week. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.